Chapter 31 of the UP Trail by Zane Grey. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain.
Why, there,
Echoed McDermott as he wiped the clammy sweat from his face.
gosh, I were.
It was 5:30. There appeared to be an unusual number of men on the street, not so hurried and businesslike and merry as generally, and given to collecting in groups, low-voiced and excited. General Lodge drew McDermott inside.
Come, you need a bracer. Man, you look sick,
he said. At the bar, McDermott's brown and knotty hand shook as he lifted a glass and gulped a drink of whiskey.
General, I ain't the man I was,
complained McDermott.
Casey's gone, and we had hell with the Indians getting here. And then just after I stepped off the train, it happened.
What happened? I've heard conflicting reports. My men are out trying to get news.
Tell me, Sandy,
replied the general eagerly.
After hearing of Casey's finish, I was sure needing stimulants, began the Irishman. And presently I dropped into that Durage palace, had my drink, and then went into the big room where the music was. It sure was a palace. A lot of them swells with frock coats was there. B'gorra, they ain't above bucking the tiger. Some of them I knew, and Mr. Lee, what was once a commissioner of the U.P., he was there with a party of friends. And I happened to be close by them when a girl come out. She was sure pretty, but not sad. Her eyes was terrible haunting. And right off, I wanted to start a fight. She were looking for Durade, as I seen afterwards. Well, the minute that Lee seen the girl, he acted strange. I was standing close, and I went closer. Most extraordinary resemblance, he kept saying. And then he dug into his vest for a pocketbook, and out of that he took a locket. He looked at it, then at the little girl who looked so sad. Right off he turned the color of a sheet. "Gentlemen, look," he says. They all looked and sure was struck with something. "Gentlemen," says Lee, "me wife left me years ago. Ran off west with a gambler. If she ever had a child, that girl is that child. She's a living image of me wife 19 years ago." Some of them laughed at him. Some of them stared. But Lee was dead in earnest and growing more excited every minute. I heard him mutter low, "My God, it can't be. Her child in a gambling hell. But that face! Ah, where else could I expect the child of such a mother?" And Lee went closer to where the girl was waiting. His party followed, and I followed too. Just when the music stopped and the girl looked up, then she seen Lee. Right out she stepped away from the crowd. He was whiter than a ghost, and the girl, she seemed paralyzed. Strange it were to see how she and him looked alike then. The crowd seen something amiss and went quiet, staring and nudging. General, dome me if the girl's face didn't blaze. I never seen the like. And she stepped and come straight for Lee. And when she stopped, she was close enough to touch him. Her eyes were great burning holes, and her face shone something wonderful. Lee put up a shaking hand. "Girl," he says, "did you ever hear of Allison Lee?" And all her body seemed to lift. "He's my father," she cried. "I'm Allie Lee." And then that crowd was split up by a man what hurried through. He was a greaser, one of them dandies on dress and diamonds, a handsome, wicked-looking gambler. Seeing the girl, he snarled, "Go back there," and he pointed. She never even looked at him. "Someone back of me says that's Durade." Well, it was. And sudden he sees who the girl was watching, Lee. That Durade turned green and wild-eyed and stiff. But that couldn't hold a candle to Lee. Sure, he turned into a fiend. He bit out a Spanish name, nothing like Durade. And like a hissing snake, Durade says, "Allison Lee." Then there was a deadlock between them two men, with the crowd waiting for hell to pay. Lifelong enemies, says I to myself, and I had the whole story. Durade began to limber up. Anyone what knows a greaser would have been looking for blood. She went back to use, answered Durade. No thief, Spanish dog. I've not seen her for 19 years, says Lee. The girl spoke up. Mother's dead, killed by Indians. Then Lee cried out, did she leave him? Yes, she did, says the girl. She was going back, home, taking me home. But the caravan was attacked by Indians, and all but me was massacred. Durade cut short the girl's speech. If I ever seen a reptile, it was then. They both left me, he hisses. I tracked them. I lost the mother, but caught the daughter. Then that Durade lost his speech for a minute, foaming at the mouth with rage. If you's never seen a greaser mad, then you never seen the real thing. His face turned yellow and old and wrinkled, with spots of red. His lip curled up like a wolf's, and his eyes, they were down to little black points of hell's fire. He was crazy. Look at her, he yelled. Allie Lee, flesh and blood you can't deny. Her baby, and she's been my slave, my dog to beat and kick. She's been through Benton, a toy for the riffraff of the camps. She's as vile and black and lost as her treacherous mother. Allison Lee shrunk under that shame. But the girl, Lord, she never looked what she was painted by that devil. She stood white and still, like an angel, above judgment. Durade drew one of them little derringers, and suddenly he held it on Lee, hissing now in his greaser talk. I never seen such hellish joy on a human face. Murder was nothing to that look. Just then I seen Neale and Slingerland, and by God, I thought I'd drop. They seemed to loom up. The girl screamed wild-like, and she swayed about to fall. Neale leaped in front of Lee. Durade, he spit out, and damn me if I didn't expect to see the roof fly off.
McDermott wiped his moist face and tipped his empty glass to his lips and swallowed hard. His light blue eyes held a glint.
General,
He went on.
yous knows Neale. How big he is. What nerve he's got. There never was a man his equal on the U.P., except in Casey. But me, nor anyone, nor yous either, ever seen Neale like he was then. He never hesitated an inch. He went right for Durade. Any dumb fool, even a crazy greaser, would have seen his finish in Neale. Durade changed quick from hot to cold, and he shot Neale. Neale laughed, funny ringing sort of laugh, full of that same joy Durade had sung out to Lee. Hate and love of blood it were. Yous would have thought Neale felt wonderful happy to stop a bullet. Then his hand shot out and grabbed Durade. He jerked him off his feet and swung him around. The little derringer flew, and Sandy McDermott was the one who picked it up. It'll be Neale's when I see him. Durade jabbered for help, but no one come. That big trapper Slingerland stood there with 2 guns, and sure he looked bad. Neale slung Durade around, spilling some fellers who didn't dodge quick, and then he jerked him up backwards. And Durade come up with a long knife in one hand he had free. Neale yelled, "Lee, take the girl out." I seen then she had fainted in Lee's arms. He lifted her, moved away, and then I seen no more of them. Durade made wild and wicked lunges at Neale, only to be jerked off his balance. I heard the bones crack in the arm Neale held. The greaser screamed. Sudden he was turned again and swung backward so that Neale grabbed the other arm, the one what held a knife. It was a child in the grasp of a giant. Neale sure looked beautiful. I never wished so much in my life for Casey as then. He would have enjoyed that fight, for he bragged of his friendship for Neale. And go on, man. End your story, ordered the general breathlessly. Well, by God, there was more cracking of bones and such screams as I never heard from a man. Terrible, blood-curdling. Neale held both Durade's hands and was squeezing that knife handle so the greaser couldn't let go. Then Neale drew out that hand of Durade's, the one what held a knife, and made Durade jab himself, low down. My God, how that genteel Spaniard howled. I seen the blade go in and it come out red. Then Slingerland tore them apart, and the greaser fell. He weren't killed. Maybe he ain't going to croak. But he'll sure have to leave Roaring City, and he'll sure be a cripple for life." McDermott looked at the empty glass. "That's all, General. And if it's just the same to yours, I'll have another drink." End of chapter 31.